Welcome to the Dayton Convention Center. This is the home of the Dayton Area Broadcasters Hall of Fame. You see the wall behind me on the mezzanine level of the Convention Center where you see enshrined the faces that you see on television, the voices that you've heard on the radio, the people that made local broadcasting what it is. Hi, I'm Jason Michaels from Cox Media Group. Tonight, the Dayton Area Broadcasters Hall of Fame presents a little mixer, an opportunity for those on radio, those on television to get together, to hang out, to enjoy each other's company, and for that matter, to also find out more about what the Hall of Fame is and what it does for broadcasters and the community. And with Jim Johnson, General Manager, WDAO, President of the Dayton Area Broadcasters Hall of Fame. And tonight, Jim, we're kind of getting together to talk about the Hall of Fame, let people see it, and, well, also to, well, you tell the story.
As a matter of fact, we're here, as you say, to look at some of the wonderful pictures along the wall. You know, looking at the wall, the Hall of Fame, that will probably be about, 500 years of experience on that wall?
A lot.
A lot of years. Yeah, people have been in this business for a long, long time. And, of course, to encourage our membership to make a list of people that they would like to see inducted, present that list by the end of the year. And, of course, next year, 2015, we will be inducting some additional individuals into the Broadcasters Hall of Fame.
You know, you bring up a good point. What is involved with members nominating broadcasters for the Hall of Fame?
As a matter of fact, all they need to do is go to our website, get an application, fill out that application. It's just a few questions asked about the experience, the involvement, how long one has been in the broadcasting business, and of course what it means to the community with them being inducted and what they've done in the past that meant so much to the community. So it's really a simple application, easy to fill out, and we'll make sure that we look at those carefully and try and select some people that we always continually to be proud of.
He is one of the inductees of the Dayton Area Broadcasters Hall of Fame, former program director of WDAO-FM during its heyday back in the 1970s and 80s, and a wonderful friend and colleague of mine, Dr. John C. Turk-Logan. Welcome.
Hey, Jason, how you doing? Let me say hello to the lady behind the camera, too, because you can't see her. Hi, Retha.
All right. You get an opportunity to take a look at all the people that are enshrined here, and what is it about getting that distinction of being enshrined? What does all that mean to you?
It's such an honor, first of all, to be judged by your peers and to be inducted into the Hall of Fame. I remember when we had the first Hall of Fame induction, and H.K. Bud Crow and Phil Donahue and some other people that definitely deserved to be in the Hall of Fame were in there. I remember when Gene Barry was inducted into the Hall of Fame. And what a lot of people don't know is that during my radio career, when I was like 6 or 7 years old, I was listening to Gene Barry on the radio, AM radio. He was at WING, and he was playing black music back in the 50s, and we could emulate Gene Barry. And who would have thought 20, 30 years later that Gene Barry would be my first program director at WDAO, a guy that I admired sincerely at WDAO. He was my first program director. Clay Collins was my second program director. Clay started my broadcast career at WDAO, and I have to pay homage to him. And then in 2009, Gene and I both will be inducted into the Dayton Area Broadcasting Hall of Fame. And that was just such an honor for a guy that comes from West Dayton, Ohio, who didn't have any broadcast experience at the time, to first of all work at a big radio station like WDAO, and secondly to be involved with a lot of great announcers there.
She's the morning voice on K99.1 FM. She's also my boss, so I got to be careful here. Nancy Wilson, welcome.
Thank you very much. I don't know what name to call you, so I'm just going to call you. You just got all kinds of different names.
Well,
to be here.
Well, anyway, you had the opportunity, Chris. You were enshrined here not long ago, and you
nominated by you, which, by the way, thank you.
Well, of course. But you know what? you have come so far, starting your career in Springfield, coming to Dayton at the very beginning of K99.1 and surviving all these years. And now your picture's up there on the wall with everybody else. What's it like to realize that you're in there with, well,
Icons?
the immortality,
Yes.
the icons of radio?
Absolutely. You know what? It is a privilege and honor and a blessing to be with these people who have paved the way from the very, very beginning. The Don Waynes and the Ed Krailings and the many women who have led the way. Tula Stom. For us to be where we are today. We're so blessed and lucky to have this kind of talent and pioneers right here in the Dayton area. For me to be just a little part of that and to continue that legacy like you are as well, I think that is our something that we need to be doing to pave the way for the future. You teach at ICB, right?
That's correct.
So we're paving the way for those in the future and giving heritage to those in the past. So it's definitely an honor. I'm humbled by it.
Let's talk a little bit about the purpose of the membership.
The purpose of the membership is to make sure that we keep a listing and a running total of all the people that's involved, that's been in broadcasting, still in broadcasting. And of course, it helps us to fund some of the things that we do, some of the activities. Like here tonight, it's free to all of our broadcasters.
Without a doubt, one of the voices that you've heard on Dayton broadcast stations for the better part of 20 or 30 years, and one of the inductees to the Dayton Area Broadcasters Hall of Fame, Kim Ferris. And I have to kind of joke because I was listening to you on the radio when I was a teenager. No, not
I always
quite.
love to hear that. But it makes you feel good. And now I have people that come up to me and say, I grew up listening to you. My kids listen to you. And now my grandkids listen to you. And what a great testament that is to be able to work in your hometown for as many years as I've been around here. I just absolutely love it.
And one thing I've always been impressed with about Dayton broadcasting, and I think, judging from the group here, you can see a little bit of this. Unlike other cities that I have worked in Dayton, we're all competitive as all get out between 8 and 5. But at 5 o'clock, we're all friends.
Well, you know what? The bottom line is this. We all have one thing in common. We all have a love for radio. And so regardless of whether you work downtown or whether you work on Main Street or whether you work on David Road or anywhere around there, you know that at the end of the day, we all just have this love for broadcasting, and you never know when we're all going to be working together again.
That's true.
So it's just fun, and being a member of the Dayton Area Broadcasters Hall of Fame, I will never forget that night. I was sitting with Bill Nance at the time, and when they said that I was going to be part of the class, I was so thrilled because what an honor to be recognized by your peers, and it was truly one of the best moments of my life.
I would call you Kathy, but I'll leave that to Kirky.
Yeah, Kirky, it's one of my favorite stories. When Kirky used to talk to me when I first got into radio, he always called me Kathy. And so one night, George Weimer said, you're going to be doing the overnight shift. And I started thinking about 3:30 in the morning, oh my gosh, Kirky's going to come in and he's going to call me Kathy because I had never corrected him. So when he came in about 5 till 5 that following morning, and he goes, Kathy, how was your night? And I said, it was absolutely fun. I said, I had a really good time. And I said, and by the way, my name's Kim. And he goes, why'd you change it?
But that's our Kirky.
That's right, exactly. So, it's been fun. And if someone hasn't been down here to the Dayton Convention Center to see the Dayton Area Broadcasters Hall of Fame, you really need to come down here, look at all the plaques, and find out about the history of our town because we have an amazing broadcasting history.
He's the voice you hear weekday mornings on Miami Valley's Morning News on News 95.7 WHIO, a guy who has been in local broadcasting, since I was, almost knee-high to a grasshopper. Larry Hans.
It's been a while. It'll be 34 years, actually, in March.
And did it ever occur to you that you would be around that long?
You know what? I love this town. I love this community. But, most people, if you grow up outside of Dayton, and I grew up in Columbus, and believe it or not, when I was growing up in Columbus, I didn't aspire to live the rest of my life in Dayton. That's just not something that is a typical dream for someone.
Right.
But once you're here and you work with the kind of people that we've had a chance to work with and live in this community, I mean, this is home.
Yeah, absolutely. And you take a look at the wall, the plaques on the wall. So many people that are iconic in broadcasting in this town.
You know, the greatest thing is I got to work with so many of them. Here's my first day on the job at WHIO. I come in, and that day I met Gil Whitney, Don Wayne, Jim Baldridge, Winston Hayner, and Lou M. And that was just the first day.
And I remember my first day at WHIO, and I walked in there, and there were like 7 or 8 people that I had worked in broadcasting with at other stations that were working at WHIO at that time.
Well, you know, and I think that we've got such a rich heritage. You know, we have a rich heritage, not just WHIO, I'm a little biased, but we got a rich heritage of people in this market. And this is a great radio market. And the outside world, I think, doesn't appreciate it. Once you're here, you realize that that we have talent here, and above all, we have so much passion. I mean, the people that are on the air, both radio and TV in Dayton, I would put our passion up against anyone in any market in the world.
Now, you were talking right before the interview that you've got some ideas of maybe some people to nominate.
Well, I'm just going to put it right out there. You know, the one thing that is missing from this Hall of Fame is there are no engineers. And I am going to nominate Dick Johnson, who is someone I worked with for many, many years, and he was a remote engineer at WHIO from the mid-50s on, did some very innovative things which are commonplace in radio broadcasting now, but it's something that Dick came up with. And unfortunately, he's not with us anymore. He passed away, but I would love to see engineering honored, and especially Dick.
And for good reason, too, because without the engineers, we couldn't get on the air.
You know what? I've had a lot of engineers remind me of that.
Now, this gentleman and I go back a long way. I remember Michael Ecton when he was working at Frigidaire, and I believe it was Frigidaire. Nope, where was it?
It was a GM.
GM, okay.
But it was...
I knew it was a factory.
But you know where we really met?
WCXL.
Yeah, in the basement over there on South Dixie.
That's right. It was a community radio project, a 10-watt, non-commercial FM radio station, and it was set up as something called the Broadcast Workshop, and it was an opportunity for young people, which you and I both were back then, who wanted to come in and learn the trade of broadcasting to be able to learn it.
Yeah, we had 2 hours a week, you know, and we volunteered, and I still remember. I remember you there, Steady. You were there before I was. You know, you were like the program director, I think.
Not really, but I was the guy who kind of came in and did a combination of top 40 and urban programming, kind of like they were doing on WDAO, which of course is where you work now.
Yeah, and you and Kurt Farmer and Harold Parcel, you guys were closer than me, you know.
Yep.
But and then I don't know, did you make the move out on 3rd Street?
Yes, I did. I remember when the station moved over there, and we moved the studios over there.
Yeah, and that was the beginning of my career, was with CXL. Yeah, and had fun. I had a guy with me, and I haven't had. I don't know where he is now. But he and I had this. We combined our 2 hours, so we really ended up with 4. So we had 2 days a week of 2 hours, and we had. And I was a different name at the time.
Right.
I was Gene Michaels.
Ah, there you go.
I was Gene Michaels, and he was Tim Kenyon. And it was Gene Michaels and the Tim Kenyon Night Train Musical Extravaganza.
But that's how a lot of people got started in broadcasting then. Today it might be a lot different in terms of getting started, but I think the feeling on the air, though, is still the same.
Well, you know, I think it is. But, you know, the thing that I don't see today is the opportunities that we as young broadcasters have. You know, there were so many opportunities for us. You know, people ask me today, you know, how do I get started? Where do I go? You know, I went to school. Okay, you need to go somewhere and volunteer and get your foot in the door and start developing your skills. But where do I go to do that, you know? Because one of the things, and you probably heard, well, you need to have some experience. If nobody will take you in, where do you get that experience?
Well, and today experience can come not only from on air, over-the-air traditional radio, but there are internet stations now.
Yeah, and you got a lot of people that have these internet stations, you know, but, you know, I have my druthers,
It's different. I know.
Yeah. I like being on the real air, where you can carry a radio along and listen. And I have truly been blessed in my career. I think I'm in my 37th year at WDAO, and I have been blessed enough to be able to work someplace that I wanted to work, and that was the only station that I ever applied at, for all this time. And I'm thankful to Jim Johnson for the toolage that he gave me and the opportunity. Now I just do some talk, but I'm grateful and I'm thankful, and I'm glad to see that the other broadcasters here are getting acknowledged for what they did, the pioneers, when I look back, and I work with so many people that I look back at the Langford Stevens, the Mac J. Pettigrews, the Long John Silvers. Turk Logan was my first program director. All these guys were looking out for this little rookie that came in, and this is how you do this. This is how you do this, and okay, you don't rock that music when you're doing the commercial. So just thankful.
We are a jazz station, part of HBCU Central State University, Wilberforce, Ohio.
And I think the thing that's very important about stations like WCSU is because for a lot of young people who may have an interest in getting into broadcasting, stations like WCSU these days are really the way to get into the business.
Yes, it is, because, of course, Central State University does have broadcast courses, and students can get a hands-on learning experience with our station, and it's a great thing. It's always been a great thing because you get to interact with the next generation of broadcasters.
And here with the Dayton Area Broadcasters Hall of Fame, you get to kind of make that full circle connection to the icons of Dayton radio.
Right.
And we have a board member of the Dayton Area Broadcasters Hall of Fame with us here. Of course, someone known all over Montgomery County and the Miami Valley. Judy Dodge, welcome.
Hi. Oh, thank you. Thank you for inviting me to come and say a few words.
Well, the Dayton Area Broadcasters Hall of Fame has been in existence for quite a while now, and you're a big part of that.
Well, thank you. Yes, my father was on radio and TV back in the 40s and 50s. So I remember growing up and going and being on the radio show and the television show. So, yes, I was sort of grew up on radio and TV.
Tell me a little bit, and I think you're very, very the right person to ask this question to, having been in local government and all that. You've had an opportunity to work over the years with many of these people that are enshrined on the walls. And what is the impression that you have had of the work and dedication of these people?
It's phenomenal. Every single one that is up on that wall has such a passion for our community and such an enthusiasm for what they do and commitment and just love that it's just wonderful. And every single one, it's like we can't get anybody any better than this year, and then all of a sudden another group comes on. It's like they're even better than the year before. So it's absolutely wonderful. And so I just couldn't be more pleased to be a part of it and to be on the board, to be able to actually look at the resumes and look at everybody that submits their name, and it's just wonderful.
Now, obviously, a lot of the membership will see this, I'm sure, on our website, DaytonBroadcastHallOfFame.com. But from time to time, we just get average citizens, the people who are the viewers and the listeners, checking out the website. Why don't you, if you could, maybe do a little pitch to get people to come down here to the convention center and take a look at the wall?
Oh, absolutely. I think that basically citizens are going to take a look at those names and they're going to say, oh my gosh, I remember Phil Donahue. I remember George Weimer. I remember, all the people that they're going to have great memories growing up on radio and television, as well as the Ponitzes are on there. They're wonderful contributors to the society here in Montgomery County. So I think it's just a wonderful history of our community, and I would encourage everybody, even if you are not, you don't know a lot of the people, just come. I think when you see the pictures, you're going to get a real kick out of it.
And of course, everybody will look at Nancy Cartwright and will go, I never knew that she worked here.
Exactly.
The voice of Bart Simpson.
Exactly. And that's what it's all about, because we're very proud of our community, so I'm proud to be here.
So there you have it, a little bit about the Dayton Area Broadcasters Hall of Fame. Now, the next induction ceremony will be happening in 2015, and be standing by because there will be a big announcement about the next set of legendary broadcasters who will be enshrined into the hall. In the meantime, we invite you to come down to the Transportation Center, the Dayton Convention Center. We're up on the mezzanine floor. You can take a look at the wall, take a look at all the faces that you've seen on television, the voices that have entertained you through the decades on radio stations all over the Dayton and the Miami Valley area. It's all part of what we do here with the Dayton Area Broadcasters Hall of Fame. From Cox Media Group, I'm Jason Michaels. Thank you for watching.